I want to talk about something that I am titling Shattering the Bad Dream. And this morning I received a text message from a woman that I've been doing readings for a number of years. And I did one yesterday and we discussed, or I mentioned that we are living a bad dream and that we need to shatter the bad dream. I'm thinking about making even bumper stickers that say Shatter the Bad Dream. And she sent me a message this morning saying, are you going to write about that and maybe publish something about that? And I thought, well, maybe I'll just do a quick video and just lightly talk about it and maybe write about it more in depth at some point in time down the future. This is a critical topic because it's affecting all of us and will affect us the rest of our lives. It has been affecting our ancestors, so it's not some quick thing that's easily dismissed. Okay, but if I needed further validation, I got it this morning from one of my grandsons, my 8-year-old grandson, who said he had a bad dream last night. Now I want you to hear what his dream was. So I'm going to tell you what his dream was, then I'm going to talk about this for just a minute, the 4 agreements, and then I'm going to talk about what we can do about it. So in my grandson's dream, he's in an elementary school, but he's in the pre-K area, meaning the early education area. I'm going to talk through the symbolism as I describe the dream to save a little bit of time. And there's a bunch of people in the school that are zombies, that are just walking around like zombies. He said it was like the zombie apocalypse. So I'm going to just quickly edit this and say that represents most of the people walking around the earth. We're like zombies, okay? We're looking at our phones, we're looking at social media, we're looking at different things, but we're not paying attention to the larger picture happening in our personal lives as well as on the global community. So there's zombies in the space. Not everybody's a zombie, though, and that should be noted in his dream. And then he becomes aware at some point in time that he's like in a video game and that there's somebody watching him and watching the whole group, the whole school. And he says it's not even, the person is not really emotionally involved anyways. He starts saying, or he hears the words, look up, look up. So he's looking up towards the ceiling. This is a message for all of us. Look up, look to a higher purpose, look to a greater meaning, look to something besides always looking down in life, right? Look for more inspiration. So he's being told, look up, and he's looking up, even though it feels a little bit awkward, and he's blinking his eyes, and he's told to destroy the dream. Stop the dream. And I'm like, Loic, that's my grandson. This is further validation of what I wanted to talk about today anyways. So we need to stop the dream. My friend Riz Verk, who's an amazing individual and has written a number of books, including the Simulation Hypothesis. You can find it on Amazon. And he talks about what other people have talked about. Are we living in a simulated reality? I am not going down that road right now because that's a whole long topic. I'm trying to keep the video short. But I think on one level, yes, we're absolutely living a simulated reality. Somebody else's reality. Now, have you guys probably heard about this book, The 4 Agreements? It was on the New York Times bestsellers list, written by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you don't know, you want to get this book. And he talks about, in the 4 Agreements, 4 foundational things for leading a fulfilling life, a decent and fulfilling life. Okay, so the first agreement is, the third agreement is don't make assumptions. Okay, don't make assumptions about anything, including that this life is what we think it is on the surface. How about that? The 4th agreement is always do your best. Absolutely, we need to do our best. If we value our life, and we should be valuing our life, we want to do our best. We want to give it our best shot. Another one is not honor your word. Be impeccable with your word. Meaning, if you say you're going to do something, then do it to the best of your ability. If you're not going to do something, whatever you're saying, honesty matters. And the other one is don't take anything personally. This is also critical, and this ties into the theme of the dream. Don't take anything personally, meaning all of us, and I've taught dream work for over 25 years, all of us are seeing reality through the lens of our own conditioning. This is why dream dictionaries don't work, because we've got to have our own language, because we are seeing everything through the lens of our conditioning. So if somebody's response to us is something less than ideal, who really cares? We don't need to care. It's through their lens of conditioning. Years ago, I stood inside a large redwood tree that had been hollowed out. Maybe like the first 12 feet, there was a whole huge section that was hollowed out. And I stood inside it just to get a vibe from the tree, right? I was like communing with the tree. This is in Northern California. And I was shocked when I got this rushing feeling going across my whole body, within and without, on the outside of my body, of these like little tiny squares, like blocks, tumbling off of me. And I'm thinking, this is why I don't do drugs. I don't need drugs, okay? Like, I trip out on life on a pretty regular basis. So all these blocks are like tumbling off of me, and I'm saying, what the hell is going on? What is this? And I was told psychically, these are all your blocks and your conditioning. Oops, there goes my hair. All your conditional blocks, we're taking them off of you. I'm like, I don't have conditional blocks. I've been doing dream work for years. I've been meditating since I was 13. I have hardly any conditional blocks. I'm all about removing the conditional blocks. And I'm told, oh no, these are deep within you. These have to do with multiple lifetimes. These have to do with societal conditioning and the educational system conditioning and all these, even genetic conditioning, honestly. So as these things are rushing off of me, almost to the point like I'm getting dizzy, I'm getting glimpses of things. And all I can remember is one of them was like, they had these cat clocks like this big, black and white, where the eyes went like this on the cat. I mean, that was even before my time. And I'm saying, what does that have to do with me? That's not part of my conditioning. They said everything is part of your conditioning. If you saw one of those cat clocks, it's part of your conditioning. I said, well, at the rate of you stripping me of my conditioning, there'll be nothing left of me. Nothing. Like, will I be able to even walk out from this tree? And they're like, don't worry, we're working on you right now. I want us all to think about what our own conditioning is. And it's not like, and we can get reconditioned, by the way, okay? Like, it's not like it's one and done, okay? It can be more of a process. So in this book, to get back to this, so he talks about these 4 things, right? Really good book. Mm-hmm. But he also talks about, kind of like as an aside, I think it's probably the most important part of the book, that for indigenous people, they said this is a dream and that we are living a dream. Well, this is true on multiple levels. Yeah, we're living our own personal dream. Yes, I would agree. But we're also living a societal dream. And it sounds nice. If we use the word dream, it sounds better than conditioning, okay? But I'm going to just not use the word dream as much right now and use the word conditioning. We are conditioned by society, by our parents, well-meaning or not, by the culture that we are in, the times that we're in, the country or the continent that we're on. All these things, well-meaning or not, are conditioning us from the moment we pop out of the womb. Okay, so we can still say, well, this sounds very poetic, really. But how does this apply to my life? Except for this is where the rub comes in, okay? I say, I would never, if I ruled the world, I would never want war in the world. I would not want horrible food that's unhealthy for anyone to have to eat. I would not want starvation. I would not want the banking industry ripping people off. I would not want the pharmaceutical company running the show, especially on mental health in the world right now, when we know our brains are easily conditioned, the good and the bad of that, and that through neurofeedback and RTMS, they're doing miracle things, and they have for decades, by the way. This is not new, cutting edge. They have for decades. So I wouldn't want anything bad on anybody, even people I don't like, what do I care? I don't want anything bad. And then I think, okay, well, let me look at the people immediately around me, okay? Do they want anything bad for anybody? No. How about I go out farther, and I know a lot of people and I'm not saying there aren't bad people in the world. I know there are. I've met some bad people. But basically, everyone I know does not want, if they had the choice, they wouldn't really be causing harm to anybody else. If there was enough food and enough for everyone, they would not want anything bad for somebody else. Okay. So if the bulk of humanity, and I want you to think in your own life, would you really want something bad for anybody? Or anyone that you know, would they want anything bad? Okay, so if the answer is no, and I already know that's the answer, what are we doing? Whose dream is this? This is a bad dream. We need to shatter the dream. And once you look at it through the lens of, this ain't my dream, I've got to respond in this dream, it's affecting me, I can't control the collective dream, just me, myself, Susan Morgan. All I can do basically is respond to it and ask other people to wake up in the dream. And that's what I'm asking you right now, to shatter the bad dream. And I don't even think it requires all of us to wake up from this. I think, and I don't know what the amount is, what the percentage is, but a percentage of us need to really see it for what it is so it can shatter. Okay, we don't have to be living this dream. We are able to create our own dream that is much more utopian in nature. This is a human ability, okay? We have these wonderful imaginations. In part, we can imagine beautiful things. We can create beautiful things. So, and once you see that it's not your dream that is driving everything right now on the planet, and it's driving it in a really bad direction right now, once you really see it for what it is, you can't unsee it. Okay. I have a friend who also closed her metaphysical shop. She had hers, I think, like 16 years in Florida. I used to work out of there before I moved out west. When I would go to Florida, like every other month, I would do readings out of there and classes and all. And she said something really fascinating to me the other day. She said, well, Susan, if you can name who's doing some of this stuff on the planet, you're not at the source. Because who's ever driving all this chaos and hatred and disruption and evil is unnamed. They're not gonna put their face and name to it. They'll have their minions doing the work, and maybe they'll be like the zombies in my grandson Loick's dream. They'll be the zombies, the little minions. But the driving force is unnamed. We don't have access to that. I can speculate on what it is, but I can't see it clearly, okay? But all I know is it's not my dream, and it's not the dream of most human beings on this planet. So we've got, to our advantage, numbers and active imaginations and hearts, right? Hearts that have a lot of power. So let's shatter the dream. And just you do it by thinking every day, am I creating any of this? Is this what I want? And if the answer is no, then say, I'm not really going to participate in this. I can see through the BS. And slowly but surely, enough of us do this, and it starts to shatter.